headlines that you're asking for. You're not asking for headlines, from people who are sitting there going, oh, maybe this ought to be done. Maybe that ought to be done. No, it's the wrong kind of headlines. And that's the problem. I love that there are already people discussing open carry in the chat room. We'll get to that because I used to live in an open carry state. We'll switch topics for a second. I used to live in an open carry state. Arizona is an open carry state. And honestly, it's not that scary. It really isn't. Fishy in the chat room. Taylor, they're only the wrong kind of headlines if you live in a swing district. Well, yeah, but here's the problem. You are giving ammunition to our political enemies, quote unquote. Let's not forget, Molly White is a freshman state representative. Molly White is a freshman state representative who was able to defeat somebody who, if I'm not mistaken, was a longtime incumbent in Ralph Sheffield. What's to stop Ralph Sheffield from deciding that he's going to run against Molly White? And make it even more fun. Brian in the chat room. Obama is giving real ammunition to several jihadi groups in the Middle East. Yeah, and that's wrong. Yeah, and that's wrong. Remember, I've said here that I'm not a fan of foreign aid, and I'm not a fan of supplying weapons to the rebel groups in Syria. You can call them both wrong. It's perfectly fine with calling everything wrong, with calling both sides in this issue wrong. And that's the problem with this statement. I mean, if you don't think that Democrats aren't going to seize, or even jihadis, potential jihadis, are going to seize onto the statement that was made by Molly White and use it to make more people Islamified by saying, look, Americans, they don't like you. They don't care about you. That's not how you win a war. And I mean a religious war. The other comment that I do find kind of amusing is she was asked about her office. And she talked about how, Molly White talked about how that her office is an open office.
Well, first of all, let me just share that my office is a very open office, and I welcome everybody that comes in there, especially my constituents. And they're the most important people to me. And it's a policy in my office that I meet personally with any constituent that comes to the Capitol, whether it's in my office, outside the door, the floor, and I want to hear what they have to say and represent them. I am very concerned about our border security, public safety. Those are some of the commissions or the committees I'd like to be on, and about our sovereignty. So I take this subject very seriously, and I want people to know where I stand, and I want to know where they stand.
Now, I will say this again. I said this at the beginning of the program, and I'll say it again. She has every right to voice her beliefs. She has every right to voice her beliefs. She has every right to have that stance. And she has every right with her office to say, yeah, we're going to put up the Israeli flag, and there you go. She has every right to do that. It's her private office. She can do it. I'm still going to call her out on it, because I don't think that helps. Something else that I don't think that helps. Oh, the other part that I love about this, and then we'll get to the other part that I don't think that helps, is that she thinks that the comments were blown out of proportion.
No, it was completely blown out of proportion, and I was quite shocked by it. But it is what it is. But when people know me, they know my heart. I've met with people all over the world. I've met Muslims, I've met Christians, I've met, everybody. And I always treat everybody with respect and listen. But, if we have some things that are diabolically different, then I need to let them know where I stand, and they let me know where they stand.
Now, if she wants to hear from people who disagree with her, then she needs to at least be willing to meet with them and discuss with them. And to change topics for a second, Randy, I am so buying a John Klingberg jersey. The legend of John Klingberg, John freaking Klingberg, the Dallas Stars, just keeps growing and growing and growing. Dare I say that I really kind of want him to be Rookie of the Year over Aaron Ekblad? Dare I say that? I think I just did. Now, moving on to something else that really, it doesn't help. And I'm coming here as a Christian who does not agree with Islam, does not agree with some of the tenets of that. But this is the wrong way to make a point. The wrong way to make a point. And this is what I mean. This happened at and this is, to my knowledge, uninterrupted. It hasn't been edited, hasn't been changed at all. But this happened during the Texas Muslim Capital Day. This happened when somebody from Cigar, and I know they have ties, they have had ties to Hamas and Hezbollah, I know. But this is what happened when somebody from CARE in Houston was trying to give a speech at Texas Muslim Capital Day.
My name is Ruth Nasrullah. I'm the communications coordinator for the Houston office of the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, which is one of the organizers of today's event. And I'd like to tell you that the Texas chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations celebrates the 7th Texas Muslim Capital Day. We are honored. Thank you.
I proclaim the name of the Lord Jesus Christ over the capital of Texas. I stand against Islam and the false prophet Muhammad. Islam will never dominate the United States, and by the grace of God, it will not dominate.
Yeah. That happened. Folks, that's not the way to do something like that. It's not the way to say that you are against Islamic extremism. That's not the way to do it. And Vicky in the chat room just said, that was ... interesting. Interesting is one way to put it. Stupid is another way to put it. And the picture that there is to go along with it, which I cannot find, but is from the Dallas Morning News, it looks even worse. Angry woman running up to the microphone, ripping it out of the CARE as individuals. It's that's ridiculous. That really is ridiculous. And I will say this, kudos to Governor Greg Abbott for saying that we must have civil, open debate of hotly contested issues in this state. Texas values are strong enough that we can have civil discourse about issues like this. And Joe Strauss made similar comments. I found the photo. And it does not look good. It does not look good. I posted it in the chat room. It doesn't look good. 6 lawmakers from El Paso say it is especially troubling to see Americans mistreated when they look or act or believe differently than the majority might. While a handful of private citizens and one misguided state representative sought headlines with hate, their views are not ours and do not reflect those of the Texas legislature as a whole. These were Democrats who made these statements, and I got to admit, I'm with them on this. I think it was a stupid thing for her to say. And is it free speech? Sure, it's free speech. But is it... Do you have to kind of be smart and have decorum? Yeah, I think you do. I really think you do. We're going to take a quick break, and coming up next, Fred Van Lente. I cannot wait for this conversation. I am really looking forward to this. We're going to switch gears, talk something less controversial, comic books, unless we get into which company's better, DC or Marvel. I'm just kidding. And Fishy also makes a good comment, not when someone else is paying for the mic. Yeah, there's decorum you need to follow. And what I thought what was done was rude. We'll be back right after this. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. Cannot wait to talk to Fred Van Lente. Back after this.
This is the Pint-Sized Pundit, and I am here to tell you that anything Taylor says on Saturday Night Cigar Lounge is his opinion and his opinion only. He does not speak for his employer, his employer's employer, or anyone else. He especially doesn't speak for Liz unless she says so.
Hi, this is Andy from the Party of Choice.
This is Leslie from the Conservative Union.
This is Fishy from Free Radical Network. Be sure to catch our show, The Refinery, on Thursdays here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.